I tried recording this the first time, but the phone went off and started doing some weird stuff. So I'm going to try again. I just wanted to talk about my earlier years, like as I was a kid, and weird stuff that had happened in school, which I think may be to do with being targeted as a young kid. I could be wrong, but there was just a lot of strange things that happened, like me answering questions right, putting my hand up and answering questions right, and the teacher telling me that they're wrong and stuff like that. So my dad died when I was 2, but I had a really good upbringing with my mum, but and my brother before she met my stepdad, which was about age 9. But I'll tell you about what happened in schools. I've written a little notes down just to give examples. I got asked, what does Scrooge say? So I put my hand up. All the other kids put their hand up as well. I said, "Bar humbug," and she went, "No, that's incorrect." And then another kid put their hand up and said the same thing, and she was like, "Yes, but well done, that's correct." Like that put an instillment in my head, like, crikey, if I put my hand up and answer something right, I'm still going to be told it's wrong, even though the next kid answers it and they're right. So I'd have that sort of thing happen quite a lot throughout years in school. So I stopped putting my hand up at all to answer questions, because I knew that I was going to be told it was wrong, even if it was right. So I was thinking in the back of my mind, hold on, I must be wrong here. So that was some strange stuff that went on. There was an apron event which happened with this same supply teacher, where other weird things happened with her, and she was putting the aprons on all these kids that were doing the cookery class, and she tightened this kid's apron up really tight by the neck part, because the string goes through the neck and out the back. So if you tighten the back, it tightens the neck part up. So I didn't want to put one of these aprons on, because she was like, "You're next," and she was looking at me like in an evil manner. So I ended up hiding under a table and telling her, "No, I'm not putting one of them aprons on. You tighten it too tight, you might end up strangling me." Anyway, so I got picked on quite a bit after that, because all the kids, she'd sort of told all the kids how stupid I was and stuff, not wanting to put an apron on and all that. So in the playground, all the kids like, you didn't want to put. So I got picked on quite a bit with that. And the same woman, this same supply teacher, came in that was supposed to tell us a story, and she said she got this magic coin, and she pulled out this coin that was wrapped in a bit of tin foil or something, and she said, "Right, this, if you all hold hands and close your eyes, I'm going to take you into the future with this coin." And I thought to myself, crikey, if this is real, which I don't think it is, I don't want to be taken into the future. So I refused holding people's hands and closing my eyes to go into the future, just in case it was real. And she ended up telling the whole class that it was my fault. None of us could travel to the future. So I had this kid pulling my hair, and all the other kids were like, "You've spoiled it for all of us. We can't go to the future now," which we wouldn't have gone to anyway, as everyone would understand watching this video. So she'd completely blamed me for that, and the whole class sort of turned on me with that. The same supply woman took us out for chips one time. This is when I was very young, and she gave everyone chips except me, and she knew she was avoiding me, because she went from one person to the next, but intentionally avoided me. So I'm wondering if they were tactics to get me to dissociate from things, to sort of, because I couldn't put my hand up because this and that, I'd be told the answer is wrong, even though that was obviously right, and it would be such a simple question. it just stops you wanting to talk out or speak out about anything. So yeah, I wonder if that's anything to do with being targeted. I could be wrong. I mean, it's not severe stuff, but you can imagine if you're told that things are wrong when things are right over and over, and you're getting weird treatment where the teacher's turning the class against a 5-year-old kid and stuff like that. It's a bit weird. So after all them years of being young in school, I got to about age 9 and I was introduced to my stepdad. Well, this was when I first ever met him. The first day I met him, I was given some terrible hallucinogenic in my drink. I was hallucinating my tits off at age 9, like all through the night. I went to tell them, they didn't believe me what was going on. I was like, all I could do was cry, and I was like, this is help me. And it was severely disorientating. This stuff was just spinning round in my head all over the place. Nasty hallucinations, not a sort of hallucinations you would get from some average thing that makes you hallucinate. This was like intense hallucinations, and as I've said on other videos, I've been given hallucinogenics later on in my life too. But I think this was to build up a fear response for my stepdad, because he was a control freak, nutter. After Mum married him, we ended up moving in with him. She sold her house and got a joint bank account with him and lost all the money for her house. He became very controlling of me and my mum, to the extent where she was wary to even give me a hug, because he was a jealous control freak, so he wouldn't even like the mother hugging her own son. He treated me like I was in the army. Like, he would get me to do things over and over again, even if I'd done them perfect the first time. Like polishing my shoes. Every night I'd have to polish my shoes, and he'd get me to do them, and then he'd go, no, that is wrong, look, there's a scuff there, and make a little scuff, and make me polish them again and again, and make me do them over and over again. And it would sometimes take bloody a lot of attempts before he thought it was okay. And the same would go for homework and stuff like that, when I was trying my best, but I was just getting put down a lot from it. And he became violent and abusive to both me and my mum. I won't go into that. We were both scared of him though. I was terrified of him. Let's just say he was a complete control freak. So after 3.5 years living with his tormentous behaviour, we escaped in the clothes we were wearing and ended up getting into a woman's refuge. Unfortunately, we found out he knew where that one was, because his ex-wife worked in there after being put in there herself. So we had to move again. So I ended up moving schools and stuff, and then we ended up moving down south. But being in the refuge was the best time of my life, because I was allowed to do things that other kids could do, like watch TV and stuff. We had a TV in the house, but he wouldn't allow me to watch TV, which was strange behaviour. So at school as well, I was sort of seen as a right dumbass by other kids, because I didn't know what was going on in the real world, because I didn't know what was going on through the TV and stuff like that. So I was sort of boxed in a way more than other kids. So yeah, it was good to get into that refuge and stuff. So we ended up in 3 different refuges before we managed to get a flat, and so I went to quite a few different schools on the way. But I never put my hand up again after these things had happened in school since I was younger, so I never even tested out whether they would keep happening, because they happened so much when I was young. No, you're wrong. and the other kid would be right, even though they'd answer exactly the same question. It was like I was speaking in a foreign language to the teachers. It was really strange. So yeah, it's all it lots of strange little happenings, but when they're drip fed to you, they build up over time. That they seem to affect you quite a lot. You don't want to put your hand up. I didn't. If I was bursting for a pee, I didn't want to put my hand up, so I would end up holding all my pissing in school because I didn't want to put my hand up to go to the toilet because I was constantly afraid that I was going to be told no, or you're wrong and stuff like that. So even to use the toilet, I started getting afraid to put my hand up, and I swear it makes me think when I look back that this was all part of conditioning, and they have teachers that are put in specific places and areas of your life in order to put that control structure in place, to sort of box you in to a smaller box than even everybody else is in. So it is a bit mind control-y type thing. I wasn't sensitized or put in massive fear, but that when I was given the hallucinogenics at 9, before my mum ended up getting married to my stepdad and that, crikey, the amount of fear I felt then, that was crazy. But I did end up being super scared of the geezer anyway. So yeah, it was all strange stuff. But I said I'd do this video just to tell people the story of when I was younger, to see if anyone would think it had anything to do with being targeted or conditioned in any way. Because like I say, on numerous occasions I'd get the class turned against me. I weren't naughty or misbehaved or anything. I was a well-behaved kid. I was just too afraid to put my hand up in the end and stuff like that. But with the travelling to the future and all that, which wouldn't have happened anyway, but the kids all believed the teacher, apart from me, that they would get to go to the future, and the blame was on me. And that happened on loads of times when I was sort of blamed for something that was out of my control and wouldn't have happened anyway. So yeah, all strange stuff. So I'll leave it there, because I've gone over just quickly what things happened. I won't go into detail about my stepdad being an arsehole, but he was. And yeah, so if anyone watches this and thinks that they're forms of conditioning where I'm answering questions right and I'm told I'm getting them wrong on numerous times over and over, to the point where I just never put my hand up anymore, that's closed you into a little box, hasn't it? Because you don't want to. But now the trouble is, that little box I was in, I've popped my head out the top, and I don't think they like it at all. So, but it makes me wonder if I was targeted as a child in some sort of mind control project, just to box me in more and more, so I wouldn't answer questions. I'd hold my piss in. I wouldn't want to go to the toilet because I would be too afraid to ask, which happened all through my life, because I'd got that instilled thing in my head not to put my hand up and not to ask questions. So it just makes you wonder. But I was sensitized. I was put in a massive fear mode when I was about 20, and that's when I started seeing all this stuff that was going on, and they made me see it. They made sure I was seeing what was happening, which it was overt. It wasn't covert. It was overtly done in order for me to see everything that was happening. So I'll leave it there. Thank you for people that watch my videos and that, and take it easy. But if people think that is it's a form of conditioning and stuff. I know things happen to people through school all the time. People get bullied, people get picked on. But the examples I've used, I was trying to use them because they're ones that come up in my memory very easily, but happened on numerous times, like far too many to be coincidental things that would happen. Plus, I was getting the blame placed on me for for things like not being able to travel into the future, and for not wanting to, like, it's just all a bit weird. When I look back at my early years in school, I think to myself, crikey, that was weird. When that happened, this happened. I answered the question once. This was before I was scared to put my hand up. She said, "What are we?" She asked if we were carnivores or herbivores because they were talking about dinosaurs and stuff. And I said, "Well, we're omnivores," because I'd already been taught that, which means you both eat meat and veg. And she was like, "No, that's incorrect. We're carnivores. Didn't you take anything in?" And all this. But there'd be numerous times with questions, like I've said, that I would get right, and I would get told that I'm wrong. But the bar humbug one I think is a good example, because it's such an easy one to get right, yet you're told you're wrong, and then another kid answers the exact same thing and they're told they're right, very well done and stuff. And so imagine that, but just happening over years and years. You'd be frightened to put your hand up. In the end, you'd be frightened to answer questions. And you're frightened to put your hand up in order to go to the toilet and stuff like that. And it just reminds me of that thing you see in the MK Ultra thing, getting children to strain all their urine. So, which was happening with me. I was continuously holding in if I needed to go, no matter what, and trying my hardest and focusing on all that rather than answering questions and stuff. So yeah, it just makes me wonder. I know people are going to see a lot of these things as small, but I'm not going to go into the violent and abusive behaviour of my stepdad, because my mum might not want me to go into that either. So she watches my videos, so I don't want to go into the details of that. But the school things, they were just weird happenings. But like I said, it could be me just being paranoid of things, and maybe all kids got treated like that. Not that I saw around me, but maybe. Right. Take care, everyone.